Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Layla, and on this channel I talk about personal development and my life here in Seoul, South Korea. In today's video, I'm going to share with you a very simple and powerful process you can use to reinvent yourself and level up on your journey. It's a process I've been using forever and I'm still using, so I wanted to go ahead and share that with you. However, there is a prerequisite. You kind of have to have a certain mindset for this process to work. If you are someone who likes to always improve, who wants things to be better, who wants to do better, and always have this growth mindset, then this would be for you. I am going to share the process and then do like a theory type of thing, and then I'm also going to use myself as an example so you can see concretely how the process translates into real life. And yeah, if you're interested, keep on watching. I haven't scripted it, so I don't know how long it's going to be, but hopefully I'll make it short and sweet. Let's focus on the first part of the process, which is identify your desires and, very, very important, decide that you are worthy of them. Most often as human beings, we'll tend to focus more on the complaints, on the problems, on the issues, etc. And what we don't realize is that all the energy that we're pouring into those issues are going to magnify them. What if I were to tell you to remove that energy, take it back, and pour it into something more productive, something that you actually desire? Because the more you focus on things, the more you amplify them. So if you focus on your desire, you will amplify them. If you focus on the positive, you amplify it. One of my mentors talk about the desire counter, and I really, really love this concept. It's basically a counter you go to and you're like, hey, well, this is what I want. I want this, I want that, and this would look good. Oh no, this would look yummy. And just look at the world as a place that offers you what you want. You just have to tell the world what is it that you want. So focus on your desire instead of your complaints. And the second thing is, when we have a desire, most of the time we'll believe that we are not worthy of that desire, or we'll start thinking about the how. How am I going to get it? How is that possible? Do I deserve it? Am I capable? Blah, blah, blah. It might sound controversial, but I would say that at the very beginning of this process, do not focus on the how. That's something you're going to take care of later. And that is also something that the universe is going to help you with. For now, focus on the what and focus on the why. What is the desire? Why do you have this desire in your heart? Let's start there and move on to the next step. I mentioned that I was going to use myself as a concrete example, and I have started a new journey right now, which is to reinvent myself into a more feminine version of who I am. And so you know how big I am on personal development and how it has helped turn me into this focused, determined, and self-actualizing woman. And personal development is amazing for performance, I guess, yeah, for performance purposes. Like if you want your life to be better, you kind of have to be better type of thing, right? But there were some aspects of my life where I just kept on failing. Like I thought I was learning the lessons. I thought I was having the mindset shift. But when the time came, when it was game time, do you know, like there's practice time and then there's game time? I would always fail, and I couldn't understand why. And that's when I realized that some things required inner work, because personal development and inner work are completely different things. And I will most likely do a video on that as well, so I'm not going to expand on this subject too much. But I realized that I had feminine wounds that I had to take care of and some deep inner work that I had to do. So I started doing it recently. It's been a couple months or whatever. And then there is this one thing, you know, as I'm doing the work, I'm realizing I'm changing internally, but I also want to change externally. And to me, it's the desire to be more of a feminine woman and tap into my feminine energy and all the juiciness and the power and the influence that comes with it. So this is my desire right now. This is my desire. Being more feminine for X, Y, and Z reasons. So I have my what and I have my why. Now let's figure out the how, right? Later on. So let's move on to part number 2. When you have your desire and when you believe you're worthy of them, what do you do next? All right, let's move on to part number 2. And part number 2 is picture what you want and how it will make you feel. So you have this desire, right? So picture the desire. What is it? And for that, you're going to have to think about goals that are smart, and then you have to picture how the desire is going to make you feel. And that's when you move on to visualization. So let's go back to making a goal SMART. SMART means specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound. So let's say, for example, you want to save money, like your desire is to have more money in the bank account, right? A yummy desire. Now you have to be specific. Let's say $5,000. Okay, that's very specific. Measurable. How are you going to measure it? So you're going to have to keep track of your expenses, right, in order for you to measure the amount. And then it has to be attainable. Is $5,000 reasonable based off of what you currently earn and how much you currently spend, right? So you have to think about that. You don't want to be completely delusional. And then SM SMART R. R would be relevant. Is it relevant to your desire, having $5,000? Well, yes, it is relevant because you do want money in your bank account. So that would allow you to have more money to do whatever it is that you want. So yes, it is relevant. And number. And the last one, which is T, time bound. Now, how long are we going to, work on this desire? Is it 5 years? Which to me is kind of too much, or is it 5 months, or is it a year? So you have to determine those $5,000, what is the period of time that you intend to accumulate that amount. So once you answer those questions, you make your goal very smart. So you have your desire, create goals around your desire, goals that are smart, just like I used as my example, money-wise. Okay, so now, why can't I speak? Jesus. Move on to visualization, which is also very important. You have to picture yourself enjoying your desire. You have to picture yourself wearing your desire or eating your desire, whatever the desire is. And visualization helps a lot. I remember prior to coming to Korea, I would visualize myself literally walking down the streets of Seoul. I'll go like on those apps. I think it was Calm, the name of the app. And they have like street sounds. So I would listen to street sounds. And you can go on YouTube and find those anyway. I would listen to that and I would picture myself walking down the streets of Seoul. And or if there is something that I want to desire, I just picture myself, close my eyes, and I picture myself just enjoying it. And the reason why you do it is because it makes you feel good, but you can also feel it in your body. And that is very important because once your body feels it, the body can also like realize how real it is. And then your mind is going to work towards that as well. So that would be step number 2. All right, so let's move on to part number 3, which is define the person that you need to be in order to be worthy of your desire. And this is crucial. It's very, very important. And that's usually the missing part because people usually have wishful thinking and things are not manifesting in real life and they wonder why. It's because of frequency, right? It is a desire because you currently don't have it, which is okay, right? So your desire is most likely at this frequency. And you as a person, you're most likely right here. And the reason why you don't have your desire right now is because you guys are not matching. So your goal is to up-level yourself to be worthy of your desire because your desire is never going to come back to your level. That just doesn't happen, right? So in order to up-level yourself right here, you have to ask yourself the question, who is the person who is currently enjoying my desire? And again, whatever your desire is, it could be a great relationship, a marriage, it could be a car, it could be whatever it is. So you ask yourself the question, who is the person who is currently enjoying my desire? And what has that person done in order to deserve or have my desire? And you kind of have to model yourself to that person. And that person doesn't have to be a specific human being in your life or whatever, but most likely like concepts or mindsets or behaviors or habits that you need to embody in order to be worthy of this desire. So let's talk about that. So we're gonna go ahead and use myself as an example, okay? Because I told you I'm also on the journey right now for a very specific desire. And my desire right now is to be more of a feminine woman. And that's something that came to me at the beginning of this year. So I'm currently working on it, right? And I had to do the same thing. I had to define who that person is, that feminine woman that I have in mind. And again, it's a personal definition. It's not what the world thinks, it's what I think and what I want to achieve. So I'm thinking, so who is this feminine woman? And I'm like, okay, in terms of her clothing, it is someone who wears bright colors or colors that suits her skin tone. It is someone who wears like minimal makeup and someone who makes sure that she feels good in her clothing and that allows her to navigate the world a certain way and have a certain, aura about her kind of thing. I was also thinking about like body-wise, someone who exercises and takes care of her body, someone who has a nice shape so that when she wears clothing, it looks nice, right? So someone who would use her clothing to present herself a certain way and be very confident when she walks around, and who would project that confidence and, you know, all that good, yummy stuff. The second thing I was also thinking about, like, what kind of woman would she be? And the aesthetic as well was very important to me. You know, someone who would do her hair and change it up a little bit every 2 months or so. Someone who would have her nails painted, someone who would wear like jewelry and stuff like that, but remain like very understated and classy and all that juicy, yummy stuff. I was thinking about like the way she would express herself, the way her voice would sound and all that kind of stuff. So I made a list of that woman, and I'm like, okay, at least now I have something to work towards. At least now I have a picture in my head, and I need to ask myself the question, okay, what kind of value do you think that woman would have, and would those values align with my value? And I'm thinking, okay, so a woman like that would most likely be very warm towards people. And I like that. Like, I'm an introvert, so I don't go towards people. I don't want to. However, I want to make sure that when people come to me, that I receive them in a way that's warm and inviting. Okay, and I have to think about like what kind of other values she would have. And like, okay, a girl like that, a woman like that who takes care of herself most likely has money, right? So therefore I'm like, okay, so maybe she is a hardworking woman, or maybe she has a way of like making money, etc. And is it something that I value? And I'm like, yeah, that's something I value. So basically what you have to do is you think about the desire, you think about the person that has your desire, and what kind of you know, how they look like, and what kind of values they have, etc. You make a list of all the things that this person had most likely had to do in order to get the desire, and you ask yourself the question, is it something I can do? And I'm like, it is something I can do, because I looked at the list of that woman and I'm like, I can become that woman, right? But in order for you to know that, you have to actually describe that person that has that desire that you want. Now I understand that my example might be a bit too niche, so let's go back to the money part. For example, before coming to Korea, I had to have a certain amount saved, right? So I did my SMART goal with my money, and I knew exactly how much I needed, I knew exactly how long it was going to take me, etc. So when it came to the part 3 of this process, which was define the person who would have that kind of money saved within that time frame, I sat down and I told myself, who would that person be? And obviously my response was like, well, that's most likely not someone who would go to a department store, aka Macy's, and swipe her card when she has no money. That person is most likely not going to go on a trip somewhere with a credit card when she doesn't have cash. Like you see where I'm going with this, right? You would be like, that's most likely someone who would pack her lunch and take it to work so that she doesn't have to save. I mean, she doesn't have to spend money. Or you'll be like, that's the kind of person who most likely reads books about personal finance. That's most likely someone who has a spreadsheet for her budget. That is most likely someone who has a side hustle so that she can earn more money. So you see where I'm coming with this? It's like, okay, you want this desire, but the person who has that is doing something, right? And what is this person doing? So you have to list all those things, and now you have to ask yourself the question, can I do it? And your answer better be yes, if you want that desire. So when I made the list and I realized that, I need to be more mindful with my money, I need to start budgeting, I need to have a side hustle, etc. The only way I was able to get all of that on a piece of paper was because I went through process number 3, which was to define that person. And then I went to work. So again, think about your desire, like I said, write down everything that you need to do in order to deserve that desire. Define the person that you need to be in order for you to match the frequency of your desire. If there is one key takeaway I want you to have after watching this video, is understanding that if you have a desire, there is always an identity upgrading process that you can go through in order for this desire to come into your life. And my 3-step process is something that you can definitely do, because at the end of it, you wouldn't have what it takes to build the habits around attracting this desire. Okay, because once you're done with identifying the desire, once you're done with picturing yourself with the desire, once you're done figuring out who you need to be in order to have that desire in your life, then you can start building habits in your day-to-day life that are going to be conducive to you having that desire and keeping that desire in your life, right? So this is basically how I upgrade myself. I don't just wake up one day and be like, oh yeah, I want to be more like this, more like that. No, it's always driven by a specific desire. And then when I go through my 3-step process and I realize who I need to become in order to have this desire, then I go to work. I go to work into like doing things or into personal development books if I need to, etc. And that's how little by little I end up upgrading myself. I've done this 3-step process so many times in so many different aspects of my life, in my relationships with, family members or family or whatever, in my work sphere, in my money management sphere, in every single thing. It doesn't matter what it is. The process is very simple. The process is the same. And as long as you follow it, you shall be fine. So my goal for you is to have a very specific desire, to go through my process, to start manifesting the reality, enjoy it, practice, and get to a point where the practice doesn't feel like practice anymore, but like second nature, because you would have embodied everything. And once you get that desire, you would obviously want more. It's human nature, right? But once you get that desire, not only are you going to feel great, but the person that you would become would then allow you to dream even bigger and to want even better for yourself. So it's a virtuous circle, I guess. That's how I would say it is. So yeah, that was my message for today. Thank you for watching. Appreciate it. And you'll see me in the next video. All right, take good care of yourselves. Bye.